Zac Taylor, guy who people wanted to fire at the beginning of the season, wanted to fire probably even in the middle of the season, got this team going, played really good ball down the stretch. He came out. I thought it was going to be Sean McVay, who was the one who was going to take the chances. Hey, I was in the Super Bowl about 5 years ago. Didn't go my way. Didn't score any points. We had too many things on the docket. He said, tried to do too much, outthought ourselves. All right. I thought he'd come out and say, let's be simple with this. Let's try to get a lead. We've got some really good receivers. We're elite. They're probably not going to run much pressure early on. Let's first or second play out of the gate. Let's bomb one over the top. Maybe in the second drive, take a shot. And they started trying to take some shots, but they never really were able to get anything going. Tribute to credit that to Cincinnati's secondary. It's tribute to how well they played on the deep balls. But Zac Taylor was the one that was aggressive. He came out there and maybe he saw that from the Super Bowl and said, you know what? You got to go get this thing, man. You can't just let the game come to you. You have to go dictate it. Goes for it early on a fourth down. Hey, it doesn't necessarily work, but I thought it was the right call. Right there, goes for it again on fourth down with Joe Burrow, this time ultimately choosing, instead of throwing the ball, which Joe probably made a bad read on the first one, hey, we're going to have the quarterback draw, let Joe use his legs a little bit. Worked out. And then, they were 1 for 3 because ultimately the last fourth down, which we'll get to here in a little bit. Thought he was very aggressive. Really enjoyed how he called it. Halfback pass with Mixon in the red zone. They've been running the ball so effectively. Boom, we'll toss it out to our running back, have him throw a pass. 2 non-quarterbacks threw passes in this game because Cooper Kupp threw one too. So if you're keeping up with some of the prop stuff, you've got some options right there. I think the over-under was 1.5 on that one. But another aggressive call, making sure they get points in the red zone and not field goals. Big call right there, very aggressive. Came out starting the game. A lot of empty sets. Quick game, getting the ball out. Worked pretty well early on. Aaron Donald began to turn it up, and we'll get into that defensive line for the Rams. But quick game early on, got him going. I thought that was a big difference, but he was very aggressive. Kept the running game, stuck with it. It wasn't always the prettiest thing in the world, but that was something that helped allow Mixon to be able to throw that halfback pass. If you're going to throw that, you have to make sure that, hey, you're running the ball effectively or it's not going to fake anybody out. And then the play action shots, thought that was awesome. He was the one that took shots down the field, getting it to Chase, getting it to Higgins, letting those guys do what they do and understanding they were a big play offense all season. Why are we going to stop? Why are we going to change what we are right now? No reason to. And so the moment was not too big for Zac Taylor. I know a lot of people probably look at this, Cincinnati, and they were loathing him all year. I thought he called a good game. I thought he coached a good game. At some point in time, you have to have players who can block people. You can only smoke and mirror that thing for so long. And I thought Zac Taylor did about as well as you could have asked him to do, given what he was working with up front. So I thought the calls were good. They couldn't really run it all that effectively in short yardage situations, but they kept them off balance, running in other times. And Mixon had a very productive day, I thought. A very, very productive day, and did a good job on the ground. If you look at 72 yards, 14 carries, 4.3 on the ground, good day for Mixon, and that's a credit to Zac Taylor. So I give him a check plus in the box for the job that he did as the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. I thought he outcoached McVay. He just didn't have the horses that he had. Since I brought up the props, 2 players throwing the ball, non-quarterbacks. The over-under was set at 1.5, I believe, for that. Another prop that cashed early, both teams having the lead in the second half. That was one that I liked earlier. You get about minus 196 on that one. But if you thought it was going to be a back and forth game, which it ultimately was, Rams start the second half with a lead. All of a sudden, boom, Cincinnati scores twice back to back. Boom, they've got the lead then. I think cash within the first 3 to 4 minutes of the half. You felt good about that. So that was a nice little prop that you got going right there. The Bengals, losing by 3, Rams winning, did not cover what, the line was early on, and it kind of moved around, but it was around 4 points, 4.5. I don't think it ever got all the way down to just a flat field goal with it. And then one of the other very interesting ones is total yardage leader. If you looked at it, Cooper Kupp, I think, was the favorite. Joe Mixon was the second. I like Jamar Chase. He was about plus 600. There was some value there, I thought, with him. And he had a good game, but Cooper Kupp was in second, I want to believe, with like 92, 93 yards. But the big winner in the clubhouse coming out of nowhere, and I didn't even see his odds, but they're greater than plus 600 because that's what Chase was at 3. T. Higgins, 100 total yards receiving, led the total yardage for rushing and receiving of anybody. So T. Higgins is your Super Bowl champion, 2 touchdowns, total yardage leader. I thought you could have potentially thrown the MVP over his way with what he did. Now, obviously, Cooper Kupp, 8 catches, a couple of touchdowns, and then ultimately, close to 100 yards, did a great job. And he had some really big plays with what he did. But T. Higgins, I think if Cincinnati wins, you could have argued that, hey, he would have been a huge reason. He would have been in that MVP running for that.